The theater is buzzing with anticipation as the lights begin to dim, signaling the start of another performance on Britain's Got Talent. A hush falls over the crowd as a small figure walks onto the grand stage, a 12-year-old boy, neatly dressed, his nervous smile betraying his excitement and fear. The massive audience looks on with curiosity, some whisper softly, wondering what song someone so young could possibly sing on such a big stage. The judges sit behind their shining table, each with their own expression of intrigue. Simon Cowell leans slightly forward, his eyes narrowing as he studies the boy, unsure what to expect. The boy introduces himself politely, his voice trembling just a little, but his sincerity and innocence immediately win the crowd's attention. He takes a deep breath and announces that he will be performing "Feeling Good" by Michael Bublé. The audience gasps softly, an ambitious choice for a young contestant. A few people exchange doubtful looks, but the boy simply closes his eyes as the first notes of the instrumental begin to play. Then, as he opens his mouth to sing, everything changes. His voice emerges rich, deep, and soulful, a tone that sounds far older than his years. The first line rolls effortlessly from his lips, filling the entire theater with power and emotion. The crowd, initially uncertain, becomes frozen in shock. The camera zooms in on Simon Cowell, whose skeptical expression fades into one of genuine surprise. As the boy continues to sing, his nerves disappear. He moves naturally with the rhythm, his small hands gripping the microphone as if he's performed his whole life. The stage lights shift, glowing warmly against the gold backdrop, creating a dramatic and cinematic aura. The judges exchange looks of disbelief, Amanda Holden mouthing a quiet, "Wow." The audience begins nodding to the beat, drawn in by the mature control and confidence in the boy's voice. Every note resonates through the theater, echoing like a professional jazz performance. By the time he hits the high note of the chorus, the entire hall is captivated. The boy's transformation from a nervous child to a confident young star leaves everyone speechless, and Simon can't help but smile, realizing he might be witnessing something truly extraordinary. As the performance continues, the young boy's confidence begins to bloom like a rising melody. The initial nervousness that once flickered in his eyes fades away, replaced by pure focus and passion. The stage lights shift from soft amber to deep gold, bathing him in a warm glow that gives the entire scene a cinematic, almost magical atmosphere. Every movement, every note he sings, flows with the grace and polish of a seasoned performer. The orchestra swells behind him, each instrument blending perfectly with his voice as if the music itself recognizes his rare gift. The audience, now completely silent, listens in awe. No one dares to speak or move, afraid to disturb the spell he has cast. Simon Cowell, who at first leaned back skeptically, now sits upright, elbows on the table, his eyes locked on the stage. There's a hint of a smile forming on his lips, a rare expression of admiration. Next to him, Amanda Holden turns to Alicia Dixon and whispers, "He sounds just like Michael Bublé." Alicia nods in disbelief, both women visibly moved by the soulful tone coming from someone so young. The camera pans across the crowd, families, couples, and children, all staring in wonder, some swaying gently to the rhythm. As the boy enters the second verse, his voice becomes richer, more controlled, filled with emotion that touches every corner of the hall. His eyes close for a moment, and it feels as though he's not just performing but living the song. The judges exchange glances, acknowledging silently that this performance is something special. When he reaches the bridge, the lighting intensifies, beams of gold and white surround him like a halo, and the orchestra rises to match his soaring vocals. The energy in the room is electric. The camera zooms in on Simon once more, his smile is now undeniable, a mix of pride and astonishment. The final chorus hits, powerful and flawless, and before the last note even fades, the audience explodes into cheers and applause. The boy opens his eyes, slightly trembling again, not from fear this time, but from realizing that he just conquered the stage and left an unforgettable mark on everyone watching. As the last note of the song echoes through the theater, a moment of stunned silence fills the air. The boy lowers his microphone, his chest rising and falling as he catches his breath, unsure of what will happen next. Then suddenly, the entire audience rises to their feet, clapping, cheering, and whistling in an explosion of emotion. The sound is deafening. The camera captures faces across the crowd, people smiling, tearing up, and even shaking their heads in disbelief at what they've just witnessed. The boy's eyes glisten with tears as he looks around, overwhelmed by the standing ovation. It's a wave of appreciation that feels too big for him to grasp. His small hands tremble slightly, and for a brief second, he bites his lip, trying to hold back his emotions. Simon Cowell stands up from his chair, something that rarely happens. His face shows a mix of admiration and amazement. He claps slowly at first, then joins the rest of the judges in an enthusiastic standing ovation. Amanda Holden looks emotional, placing a hand over her heart, while Alicia Dixon wipes a tear from her eye. Bruno Tonioli is practically dancing in his seat, shouting over the applause. That was unbelievable. The boys' parents watch from the side of the stage, both crying, their pride shining brighter than the lights above. When the noise finally begins to settle, Simon raises his hand, signaling for quiet. He leans toward his microphone and says, "You know, I wasn't expecting that." The crowd laughs softly, still buzzing with energy. Simon continues, "I've been doing this a long time, and it's rare to hear a voice that feels so natural, so confident, and so mature, especially at just 12 years old. You have something very special." The boy smiles shyly, his voice shaky as he whispers a soft, "Thank you." The audience cheers again, echoing with warmth. Simon looks at him one last time and says, "Remember this moment, because this is where it all begins." The golden stage lights glow brighter, wrapping the young singer in a halo of success as his dream takes flight before the world's eyes. Backstage, the atmosphere is a mix of tears, laughter, and disbelief. The 12-year-old boy steps off the stage, still dazed from the overwhelming applause echoing behind him. He can barely process what just happened. The bright corridor lights shine down on him as crew members congratulate him one by one, some patting him on the shoulder, others smiling proudly. The boy's parents rush toward him, wrapping him in a tight, emotional hug. His mother's eyes glisten with tears as she whispers, "You did it, sweetheart, you really did it." His father holds back emotion, his voice trembling as he says, "That was beyond anything we imagined." The boy clings to them both, a tear sliding down his cheek as the weight of the moment sinks in. This wasn't just a performance, it was the start of something much bigger. Behind them, a producer approaches, still holding a headset, and tells them that social media is already exploding with clips of his performance. "You're trending worldwide," she says with a grin. The boy's eyes widen, his mouth opening slightly in shock. In the distance, a monitor replays his audition. The shot of Simon Cowell smiling proudly fills the screen. Simon's voice echoes through the speakers, "That's not just talent, that's the beginning of a career." The boy stares at the screen quietly, his face lit by the warm glow of the monitor. A shy, emotional smile spreads across his face as he realizes what those words truly mean. Nearby, one of the judges walks by, still in awe, and gives him a thumbs up. "You've got a gift, kid. Don't ever lose it," they say before disappearing down the hallway. The boy looks down at the microphone still in his hand, running his fingers along it as if it were something sacred. The camera zooms in slowly, his reflection shimmering in the metallic surface, his eyes filled with hope and wonder. As he turns back toward the stage, the muffled roar of the audience continues in the background. He takes one last look, smiles softly, and whispers to himself, "This is just the beginning." The scene fades to black as gentle piano music plays, leaving a lingering sense of triumph and new beginnings.